Boom, there we go, we are live. It's got 29 seconds to go at the moment. Hopefully this will be syncing up. I'm watching the video screen over there at the moment just to make sure that it does. By the way, the last few weeks, having someone track questions in the comments and messaging them to me on Facebook has been excellent. Oh, I don't want to show that. I want to show that. So if someone actually wouldn't mind volunteering to do that again, just the first person to do it, that would be really, really great, because that has been really helpful for me in the last few weeks. So can I get a volunteer to who's friends with me on Facebook to relay the messages? First and first served. Although I guess it's not really something people might want to volunteer for. In fact, Sean, can I make it you? Sean bro, I suppose you just messaged me and actually 2 hours ago now. Andrea will do it. Okay, I will. So it's Andrea. If you could just drop me a message now, just so I've got those as a collection, so I don't miss it. It just is great for me being able to not miss your comments and be able to address those. So that is wonderful. Thank you, Andrea, my boy. That is wonderful. So I will. You're friends with me on Facebook, right? So I will look out for those messages and welcome everybody. Got a bunch of not so much. It's been quiet in Japan. I always say this every week, and I end up, taking up the full hour. However, a lot of announcements and stuff. I'm starting with that cover, and I would like to take. So Andrea, how are you going to message me? Mr. Cordy Chip, I didn't live at 2.5 yesterday. I had work to do and I couldn't join. I didn't know if it was going to be on or not. At the end of the day, it looks like Victor didn't make a video. But I had assumed that he was going to do that. I have an echo. That's interesting. Why do I have an echo? Is there really an echo? Let me check this. Well, it wouldn't be me if there wasn't a technical issue of some sort. Let me check my monitor. I am getting this. Oh, there is an echo. Why is that echoing? Sorry, okay, let me sort this out. That is freaky. Oh, it doesn't like me editing this on the fly. Okay, well, it's not that. I know what it is. Okay, let's try this. Why is the echoing like crazy? Is that better now? No. Why is it doing that? I'm sorry about this. Okay, let me try and experiment. I'm sorry, because I do want to fix this. Let's try this. And now if I go back to this mic, it's this mic which is echoing. Well, it's only selecting one mic. I don't know why it's echoing, but I can hear it. Well, there's a slight echoing. You know what? Sorry, this is bugging me. Okay, I'm going to do something which could cause more technical problems, but let's try this. Add mic from Microsoft. Sorry about this. By the way, can someone message me? Oh, Sean, bro, do you mind relaying me the messages? And while I ask you about that, Oh man, editing this software while I am while I'm doing it live is asking for a lot of trouble. But I want to get this right. Microsoft Live Cam. Why does it always do something wrong? Okay. So it's not detecting the mic properly from my camera. Look, I'll tell you what, if you can tolerate this tonight, because otherwise this isn't going to work. Ashnaz Durbatuluk, Ashnaz Gimbatul, Ashnaz Thrakatuluk, Ag Burzum Ishi Krimpatul. I don't know what that means, Salidi. I hope that was entertaining for you. You know what, I think it will be fine too. I heard it there and it is there, but it's not that bad. So anyway, let's just kick off with it. I'm sorry, jeez, I started on time and I've lost the first 5 minutes. Let's start the show now. Let's do the boom now. And Sean Bro, yes, could you please relay comments to me? That would be awesome. Has the comment gone? Is the echo gone? Really? That's still there, but it's okay. I don't care. Let us proceed. Oh, it's bothering me, but what can I do? Okay, so the first thing is I want to get your guys' input. What day should I do the new uploads of the new Japan Business Time with Rochelle Kopp? It is that thing that you can see in the cover there. Yeah, the new series, it's all set. The first few episodes have been approved. I'm thinking either Tuesday or Thursday, Japan time, in the morning. So it'd be like Monday evening in the US, or Wednesday in the US. What do you think? So yes, if anyone has a preference, please let me know in the comments. I will zoom back to look at those. In terms of the topics tonight, so that's right, it's taken a while, but it is now set to go. That is the awesome thumbnail made by Pugchang. Nikita, thank you very, very much for that. Really, really appreciate that. And yes, I don't know why it is the buff. Well, you're in Australia, so everything should buffle like that. But anyway, Ben Duncan, boon indeed. Friday. I don't like to do 3 days in a row though. That means I've got 2.5 Oyajis Saturday, a video going up Friday. It's kind of busy. I'm thinking Thursdays or Tuesdays. We have a vote there for Thursdays, a vote there for Tuesdays. I get Ben Duncan saying Wednesday, but I want to keep Wednesday free because I want to do Tokyo Digital Crew stuff. If I do stuff on a Wednesday, I'll do it then. Yes. Bradley Ford on the way to Budapest. You know what? I'm thinking Tuesday. That's me. Anyway, if there's any objections to that, I'm going to do that. By the way, just a reminder as well, I hope if you didn't catch the reading that By McNeil did of my favorite chapter of his book, Hi, My Name is Loco and I'm a Racist, on the show the other week, plus his explanation of the new book that he's doing, Winning Abroad, which is all in his Kickstarter, and if you want to get a copy of those books, that's the best way to get it. His book reading on this show was awesome. It was breathtaking. I loved it. It doesn't have a lot of views, but it's really worth watching. Yes, please. You know, if you haven't seen that, see the video and definitely go and support the Kickstarter because it is worthwhile. And this is that's him. That's By McNeil, and he was an awesome guest. Also, heads up to everybody, on June 2nd, Rochelle is going to be in Tokyo doing another corporate seminar, so it's going to be corporate prices. It's not going to be very affordable for people who are on normal budgets, but if you are in a company and you can persuade them that it's a good idea to go and get some intercultural business training, and you're in Tokyo, on June 2nd, Rochelle is holding another Working Effectively with Japanese seminar in Tokyo. If you put in the promotion code HIKO30, I'll type that in the comments right now, HIKO30, you will get a 30% discount. So if you need help persuading your work to pay the corporate fee for this, tell them that you can get you've got a special promotion code for a 30% discount. I will be there. I will be attending this time. First time I've ever attended one of these. I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to be there. Rochelle's going to be there. It'll be like Japan Business Time Live. It'll be run by Rochelle, but you'll get a real taste there as to why she is with the standing that she is, and get real hands-on training with her. So yes, indeed. Anati, definitely recommend. Skip to 31 minutes and 17 seconds on that video if you just want to hear the reading, but actually even the build-up and the discussion about there are a lot of misunderstandings about Baye and his book. People make a lot of assumptions when they see him, like they think that he must be complaining about racism. Well, no, he's actually admitting to being racist himself. So there's a lot going on with that, and it's definitely worth watching. So yeah, and Globby, I appreciate what you're saying. That's the whole point of uploading, is people watch when convenient. But there again, I like to build up to the event a little bit. So anyway, look out for it this Tuesday. I'm going to aim to put it up this Tuesday. By the way, if you like this shirt, I really like this shirt. This is black and white. This is what I originally wanted to get. This is what I will wear whenever I'm doing Tokyo Digital Crew video related activities, or the other shirt that I've got folded over there somewhere. But it's cool stuff. You can get one of these for like $15, which is the cost price, no profit from it. But I've got the link down there. You can get a mug or a shirt if you want to get some swag. It's a cool shirt. I think just for a fashion statement sense alone, it's worth getting. So go get that. Speaking of Rochelle Kopp is also just released a book, or I think she's been doing it through Kickstarter. But it's been getting a lot of good promotion on Silicon Valley lingo used by startups and so on. And with not Japan related at all, but it's a nice book project that she's done with her husband, and it's getting a lot of attention and big media in the US, so it's worth supporting, and go and check that out. I did a blog on Facebook last week about my philosophy on DJing. I mentioned this last week, I think. I was asked by a friend to give my advice on DJing for his young daughter. And I kind of said, well, I'll put together a blog and I'll be happy to talk to her. And I put together my thoughts, which, as usual, are very long-winded. It's a long post. That's me at an outdoor party years and years ago, playing some trance music, I believe, for most of that party, while there were fireworks going on up above beside the Tamagawa River. That was a really good party. Yeah, I can remember most of these events actually, but anyway, I basically went through. I disclaimed that I'm an old dude. I play old-fashioned decks. The whole nature of DJing has changed a lot since I stopped doing it in 2006. Around that time, around the early 2000s, PCs took over, and now mobile devices are taking over, and I think it's going to go to all of this virtual reality stuff. So the whole nature of how DJs spend time and what they do and so on has changed a lot. But there again, I do get into my philosophy on music selection, music matching, things like that, which shouldn't change actually, about knowing your music first. This was a good event. These events were actually a bunch of parties that were run by, well, I helped set up, but I have some architect friends who would be on renovation projects in big houses, and they'd get permission to actually use their house while it was under redevelopment. That we would just fill it up with people and do these massive sort of house studio parties, and they were really good. And I got a few friends from other events that I DJ'd at to play, so we just played awesome music and just played loud, and it was really, really good. We had some great parties. That's a good way to go out. And that's my dicks. And yeah, my ideas on what DJing is now, because I think it's changed a lot, and my advice for getting started. And I said, don't worry about turntables, don't worry about all the expensive equipment, just get an iPad and some apps. And I suggest starting with Tractor for iOS and DJ Pro for iOS, and also recommended some nice little music making and some beat machine apps there, which are also good, and I explain why. If you're ever interested in hearing my philosophy and my musical background, I used to play piano and stuff, but I've never really made music. I've just played it, Although there are creative, and there is a certain approach that you take as a DJ. My philosophy on it is there, so there you go. You can go and check that out in there. And oh, by the way, Sean Bro, I can see that you are filling up the comments that are addressed to me, and I will come back to those. So thank you for doing that. Let me make that full page. You do, Sean Bro. Everyone be really nice to Sean Bro, because he's doing a great job catching comments. Or two at the moment, but that's good enough. So anyway, that's my blog post, Saving Lives with DJing. I'm probably going to do a video on that and a number of tutorial videos. I've meant to have already put up some tutorial videos on how I make Korg stuff and how I use different apps and so on, and how I make music on Tokyo Digital Crew. Folkhart has already put up a tutorial or two on there. And I want to do all the music stuff. If you're interested in any of the music stuff, it will be over there on that Tokyo Digital Crew channel. So you can go and see it in an environment dedicated to that. I'll be wearing the shirt and making videos like that, and videos of blogs like this. So go and subscribe. It will be awesome. kind of makes me curious, actually, just to check right now. How many subscribers are there at the moment? We still haven't really been posting a lot of comment on there yet. It's 88 subscribers. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I didn't do that. That's good. So yeah, that's cool. With Japan news now, it's taken 15 minutes, but we've gotten on to Japan news. Onati speaks Polish. Well, there you go. I probably, I probably have some ancestors back in history who spoke Polish, but no connection to them. I can speak a little bit of Romanian. Vorbitum puțin românește, but that is it. It's kind of anyway. But no, nothing like Polish. I know that Romanian is nothing like Polish. So, the Olympic consultants, if you've heard about this whole idea that this whole scandal of one of the Olympic City Selection Committee guys, a French person, was paid $2.8 million by the Tokyo Olympic Committee before the Olympics were awarded to Tokyo. It was explained that it was a request for, it was a consulting fee where they were using a company owned by this guy as a consultant for advice on preparing their bid. And who better person to consult with than the person who will be one of the people making the decision as to who will win? They insist it's all above board and it's a normal consulting fee for a normal consulting project for a normal consulting fee. It's all above board. However, it was set up, and it wasn't set up by the committee itself. It was actually set up by it was actually set up by the Japan's monopoly ad company Dentsu, so who they're sort of blaming it on. However, in France, this is being treated as a bribery payment, and there is talk about it actually undermining the whole that might result in the Olympics getting taken away, and it's causing a kerfuffle. Anyway, they're saying it's a normal consulting, advisory contract, and that's what you get. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Hopefully it will not result in anything happening with the Olympics getting taken away. But given how everything else has gone with the logo and the stadium, it just seems to, and the way that all the problems that Brazil is having, I don't know. You always have to wonder, do the Olympics need a reset button? There's a good question. It almost feels like they do. Just come back to the questions. Bradley Ford says to me that if I start a Friday show, I can call it Fish and Chip Fridays. Indeed, I could. But I've already got a title for the show, so if I'm going to start Fish and Chip Fridays, I should not put Business Time on there, actually. So that's a good suggestion. Globby, you'll watch Business Time, not just after, but likely not just after airing, or purposely not so. Right, just a time that's good for you. So thank you for that, Globby. I appreciate the comment. This is just interesting because I've worked as a lawyer and I've worked as in-house and so on, and this is going to happen. It's kind of, and you know what? I know a lot of lawyers were kind of shocked to see AI programs that were doing, that were seeing things like creative writing and things that we thought only humans could sort of do. And at the same time, I can see the idea of having an AI lawyer for all sorts of things, actually. In the end of the day, half of what young lawyers arguably waste their time doing. I talked about this with DJing, how technology has given us more time to spend on higher value things. It used to take so much time to match up tracks, for example, and now that we can just do that at the press of a button, that annoys some people that, that's not real DJing because it does it for you automatically, but you have that extra time that you can do other things, you can be more clever. And a lot of lawyers spend a lot of time looking up cases and checking precedents and checking laws. If you have an AI lawyer that can instantly check stuff, of course you'd use it. In terms of going as far as actually giving advice, well, that might be sufficient for low-level work, which is a lot of bread and butter money for lawyers. But at the same time, as a tool for lawyers, I think it's going to be awesome. And having a law firm with a robotic lawyer, that sounds great. It sounds like something which could be a resource to save the time of the people who would gather all that information, and then the challenge is to not just be a robot that looks up the law, which a lot of bad lawyers are, as someone who can give advice with it. I think we're going to see this sort of use of AI and these sort of robot applications, not just for things like lawyers, but certainly for doctors. I know it's already sort of used like that. But yeah, and basically any sort of profession, that I can think of where you need any kind of specialist knowledge, this sort of thing is definitely going to come in, and it's going to be really interesting to see in the next 10, 20 years just how these professions change. So I think there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be like self-driving cars. There's still going to be drivers, but there's also going to be, are you going to need all the drivers that you have now? It's interesting. A robot me, could you get a robot me? Would you watch a robot me? I don't know. You could replicate most of the features, I think. I mean, it'd be great for me. I could just go and have a sleep and let the robot do all the work, but it wouldn't be the same, would it? It wouldn't be the same. It depends on what you're coming for. If you want an email assistant, I guess, you know, get a robot, but it'll be interesting to see what happens anyway. Bradley Ford, well, this is the thing. Well, it's a bit like the DJing argument. Is a DJ really a DJ if they don't know how to beat match? Well, you know, the Judge Dredd, I kind of like the idea of that. Dredd, by the way, the 2012 version of Dredd is an awesome movie. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. I've never even heard of it being released. I saw it on a cable TV channel. It blew my mind. It was so good. It's this whole thing about, you know, do people have to go and do all these hard yards, all this wax on, wax off in order to, you know, or is it just going to make them more able and more able to operate at a high level? And I think that they'll certainly have no excuse for not operating at a high level if they have these tools. It's a really interesting thing, and I know it affects a lot of people who I know. Probably affects me as well, so it's an interesting thing to follow. I did a promotion video in Japanese. Oh, and I should start talking about this. The YT Creator Day, the YouTube Creator Day on June 17. I will be hosting a Creator Day at the YouTube space in Tokyo between 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. And it'll be a happy. So I'll be hosting a happy hour. There was a Creator Day, so this is a program that YouTube started, which is basically where they invite creators to host events that they are calling happy hours, but they're not the same as the current happy hours that YouTube does every month that they run themselves. A happy hour is an event, I think, with up to 75 participants, and a Creator Day is up to 150 participants, and they have the sort of criteria as to what it should contain. But basically, they've invited a bunch of people, including, you know, to host these events in different cities, in Japan, as well as in Korea and Russia. And they've been good enough. There's like three hosts in Tokyo, and they've been good enough to ask me to be one of the 3 hosts in Tokyo. It will be in Japanese. It will be aimed at YouTubers in Tokyo, the majority of whom are Japanese. But if you can speak basic Japanese, this is a subject that we all know stuff about, and it's just going to be, and in terms of the happy hour, the focus is going to be on networking and getting to know other people, which I'm going to be very hands-on with my session. So what's going to happen is that if you go and register, and you know, there are going to be limited numbers for this, and there will be a screening, and there will be limited numbers. However, the idea is to get a target of around 42 people, and to try to get a really diverse mix of people, and to create, I will be creating activity groups to mix up those groups as much as possible. And yeah, there'll be an icebreaker exercise of just making a 1-minute video using the cool stuff that they have at the space, and the cool studios and so on in the space. There'll be drinks and snacks provided, and there will be a big group discussion, which I will moderate along with some YouTube staff. But the idea will be that the conversation, in my mind, should not be led by the YouTube people or myself. It should be led by the creators, because what I want to get out of a happy hour, and what I've always wanted to get out of these happy hours, is the idea that most of the knowledge and interesting and cool stuff about YouTube that I learned comes from the other creators, and I want to find out, you know, I want to exchange experiences with them, and start that get a good conversation going around that with the creators. So we'll see if I'm being a little bit too hands-on with it, but it should be a really, really good event. If you're going to be in Tokyo and you're interested, and you meet the criteria of having less than 10,000 subscribers but more than 1,000 subscribers, or if you know someone who meets that criteria who will take you as a guest, get them to register and get your name in there, and it'd be really good to get a good mix of obviously foreigners and Japanese, although it will be, like I say, if there are a lot of foreigners and there's a problem with the participation thing, I'm going to get to host multiple events. I'm starting to think I might even host an international event, perhaps as the final one. But anyway, this will be really, really cool, and it'll be awesome because I'm doing it. Victor is running one of the Nagoya events, which is awesome. Megwin's done the Fukuoka one, or he's planning to do that. There's this guy here who is muscle watching, and we did a promotion video together for his event, which has already been held back in May, and my event, which is coming up, all in Japanese. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So there is registration information. I'll put links and stuff in here. That is the promotion video. I'll put information about the event in a blog here. Bear in mind, although we are calling it a happy hour, I'm running it kind of as a workshop. I'm going to be hands-on with it. I've put the link for where you can register to participate, as well as the dates for the other events, which are in Tokyo and other different cities. And it's all the information is all in Japanese, but I translated it in English on my Facebook page. However, just bear in mind, you don't have to be fluent, but you do have to be able to just, you know, have a conversation, because that is the whole point of these events. And I do not want to have a gaijin table or a conversation in English, which a small minority of foreigners are going to dominate. But you know, if so long as you're sociable, and frankly, even if you can just communicate with making signs and waving your hands if you have to, you know, don't hesitate to register and come along. It will be awesome, and I want to make it a success. So just so that you guys know, go and check out the details of the event at the link there, and check out the registration page, and come and register. And Mr. Korichep, I do want foreigners there. I just don't want foreigners to be dominating the event, which can happen. So you know, no, foreigners, I definitely want to be there, but the event will be in Japanese. I'm not apologizing for running an event in Japan in Japanese. I'll just consider doing an English event perhaps later on if there's a demand for it. But you know, I want to show YouTube how I think they should run their events first. That's the idea. But that's it. Should be pretty cool. And indeed, I see Jinx is in the comments there. I subscribed to you last week. Yes, and Hikosaemon. Well, you know, I should host these events often, and you should make videos often. We all we all have our shortcomings. You know, that's it. But I will be doing multiple events of these, and they are scheduled, so I can't really get out of them. So yeah, look out, and who knows, I might do lots of them like all the time. And please, I would love if you would make videos all the time, Hikosaemon. Ka-ching. Toshiba, you might recall, had a big accounting scandal where they misreported profits and so on, and it turned out they're really in the red when they're lying and saying that they're in the black, and their auditor was signed off on all of those. It turns out everyone who used that auditor, which was Ernst & Young in Japan, everyone is dropping that auditor because I guess shareholders would be nervous that they're getting dodgy about the quality of the financials that are getting reported if they're getting signed off by this company, which was either corrupt or more likely just not brave enough to question, which is what they're there for. They're there for as a third party check to testify to the shareholders, you know, what's real and what's not. And you know, they were playing ball with the company, helping them to cover up this failing. And this is always the risk of being an auditor, of course. It's a tough job, but that's what they get paid for, and they failed. Now they're losing a lot of business, and it's tough, but you know, I guess them's the breaks. Good little guide here by Nippon.com. A lot of people traveling around Japan. If you would like to see some cool night scenes and locations, there's a lot of information here with the best sort of night views and places to go and get good night views in Japan on Nippon.com. Go and check that out. I saw a tourist thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Also another cool sort of tourist Tokyo video, Hello Tokyo. There's been a lot of these lately. I mean, Tokyo's a great city for making videos like this. Here's another good one, so go and check that out. Let me come back. Matagaijinka. If you need a lawyer, the last thing you'd want to see is a robot. Well, that's a good point, Matagaijinka, but at the same time, it depends on what you want. If you just want to, you know, check a fact or something minor, or you just want like a pro forma, if you just want to get a form, or you just want to get, you know, something which doesn't require nuanced advice, or it might be that, you know, you don't know if if a robot lawyer isn't good enough or not, but you go to a lawyer and you'll be told, well, a robot can handle this. You'll be able to just get a form which it will print out. It will cost you $5, or you can talk to me for half an hour and I'll charge you $200. You know, seriously, I think it's the same, for free to choose. You know, you probably choose the $5 or $10 robot, especially if it's vouched for by the lawyer. You know, and that's where it comes in. It actually means that they'll get to do more business, and maybe the lawyer will do a check on whatever comes out of the robot, but it'll mean that they can cover more stuff, and you know, it could work well for both sides anyway. So I think it's possible to do. Thank you again, Shawbo, for relaying that. This week there was the Tokyo Cheapo anniversary, I think 4th anniversary party. I got to meet for the first time in person Chris, who's already been on 2.5 Oyajis before. That is this chap over here. Good to meet him, as well as Greg, who is the other main member of Tokyo Cheapo. He's a Kiwi, and it was kind of funny. We were talking, and it turns out we both lived in the New Zealand Army base in Singapore, although he was there at a different time in a different location. I lived we're both in New Zealand. He's a Navy brat, I'm an Army brat, but I lived in some public housing for Navy as well. So yeah, it's kind of, I mean, yeah, it's New Zealand. We're all related to each other, of course, but it was kind of cool to get to talk with them, and it was a good party. It was good to see Internationally Me, the awesome New Zealander YouTube channel. She was also there. I just missed Sixen in Tokyo, which is a shame. But I got to meet some pretty cool people. Had some really good chats there, so that was pretty cool as well. It was a very enjoyable party, and I'd like to thank the people from Tokyo Cheapo. And again, if you are looking to come to Tokyo or stay in Tokyo and save money, I mean, these are the guys who tell you everything that's going on in Tokyo, and all the sort of ways to affordably have the most fun in Tokyo, which is an important thing right? I mean, Tokyo can be an expensive city. D. Morris, why are you here? Indeed, why are you here? Well, when a man and a woman, when they love each other very much, when a mummy and a daddy, they hug really tight, and a stork flies, and they drop you off down the chimney, and in the bundle of rags or sheets or whatever they carry them in, the baby will come out, and that's how you got to be here. Congratulations. Another thing on the bribe there, that is the bribe article. And speaking of other scandals, so we got the Tokyo Olympics bribe, and saying it's not my fault, it's totally normal, it's not a bribe. Mitsubishi Motors, the president is going to resign because it turns out that although they first tried to blame the subcontractor that was doing the fuel testing for faking the fuel efficiency tests, it turns out they were instructed and authorized by the parent company. It's just a huge mess, and it's very disappointing by Mitsubishi Motors, and they've been taken over by Nissan and Carlos Ghosn, who kind of ripped apart Nissan and changed their whole purchasing structure. He's going to do the same thing with Mitsubishi Motors, and frankly it looks like they need it. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see. And Carlos Ghosn, it'd be kind of fascinating to see if he manages to do it again with a company with a very different business culture to Nissan, but again, we'll see. Also Suzuki Motors, very disappointing again. Turns out Suzuki Motors also has inaccurate fuel testing data. It turns out slightly different reason here. They weren't deliberately trying to misrepresent the numbers, or at least this is the story that they're giving at the moment. They're saying that they simply kind of used as we would put it in New Zealand, an agricultural solution. They didn't strictly follow the methods that were set out by the government for testing fuel standards. They were kind of just lax and slack about it, and they didn't really do it accurately. Some people have actually suggested that the test results as a result were inaccurate, but in some cases they actually said that they actually advertised their cars as having worse fuel efficiency than they actually have. But in any case, because now it seems like it's particularly for a lot of these 660cc mini cars in Japan that Mitsubishi Motors were making in this particular case, and that Suzuki makes, because their mileage is no longer trustworthy, it has impacted on the price of second-hand cars. For cars that are that small, they're going to have good mileage anyway, whether it's like 0.1 litres per 100 kilometers out. If it's going to cause them to be cheaper, it's a good deal. If you want to buy a small, cheap car, it's probably a good time to do it. But indeed, it's still disappointing that this has happened, and hopefully that won't turn out to be a bit like the Mitsubishi Motors thing. And it annoys me as well. It is universal, but it's really disappointing from, I don't know, it's kind of disappointing to see it from Japanese companies. A lot of people say, it's Japanese companies, of course, they're keeping secrets, they're hiding stuff. People always say that, but this is the kind of thing that you tend to associate more with. I mean, Volkswagen was frankly a shock that they were doing what they were doing, but you'd associate this kind of thing more with sort of US car companies and people trying to cut corners. But, it's universal. I mean, that's what we learned from that, isn't it? Matagaijinka, the K cars are pretty good, actually. In fact, when I'm renting, I take K cars over the 1.3 litre cars just because they're often more spacious on the inside, more head clearance. Some of the 1.3 litre cars, I have to hunch over, my head hits the roof, whereas the K cars are actually, they're like shopping trolleys with very, very small motors. But far, you can get up to 100. Geez, I've done 140 on the Aqualine in a K car with a surfboard on top of the car. So you can get up fast enough in them. Although in a headwind you'll barely make the speed limit, but it's fast enough, right? So anyway, Sasimang 28172 naked. That's right. Good, right? I am pretty tired as well. When you're back in Tokyo, I hope to catch up with you, although I might have to update on that. But yes, anyway, good to see you and have a good night, Simon. What else we got here? We've got Tofugu, one of my favorite blogs and dudes on the internet. Tofugu is doing another internship. The last interns that they've had there have all been like really, really awesome. I love the blogs. I love the videos that they make. I'm sure it's slave wages and lots of painting fences and waxing floors and all sorts of menial tasks like that. But there aren't many internships in the world that I would recommend. But Tofugu is one that I'd recommend. They do amazing things, and if you are part of the Tofugu community, you have street cred with me. You can totally b-boy stance me, and I would. Solid. I would be respect, for that. So you should totally, if you get into him for anyone, that's not a bad one in my book. Yes, Andrew, my boy, have a good night. Good night there, and indeed, I will have to do this as well. I'm shattered. I've been working I couldn't do 2.5 Oyajis yesterday because I was working, and I finished this afternoon, but I'm kind of shattered myself, so I'm going to go really fast now. I won't be doing music tonight. I'm sorry. It's well, I might do, but we'll see how I get through. This is interesting. Apparently 20% of companies that were surveyed crossed the considered working to death threshold of how many hours? 80 hours per week. So the threshold of 80 hours overtime per month. There is a considered regulatory threshold that people who do more than 80 hours overtime per month are above a threshold that can result in death from overwork, karoshi. And when they did a survey recently, their belief is that they did a survey of 1,000 people, and apparently 60% of those, the number of people who said that they were working, let me just get this right. Niwari no Kigyo. So this is saying 20% of companies. They're saying in terms of the survey of 1,000 people, they got data that 20% of companies have overtime of over 80 hours per month, which is an increase of 60% over the last survey, which indicates that there are 20% of companies are crossing the line of what they consider to be the upper limit of permissible overtime. So, Japan is still working like crazy. It is interesting that they were able to get this data because the data is famously underreported. In fact, even this number I'm pretty sure would still be very, very low. This is the work from over death guidelines. The word order is different. So these are companies that are exceeding the work to death recommended guidelines for the prevention of working to death. The working to death line, which is set at 80 hours overtime per month. It's a big problem. I saw Michaela tweeting on Twitter the other day about her man's overtime and how terrible that is and how he doesn't report it. And in my first job, I wasn't allowed to report it, and I did that amount of overtime. It still is a big deal. It is good to see that it is getting reported more, and a result of that is, I think, the next story, which is that for the first time ever, the Ministry of Health, Labour Welfare has actually published the name of a company which has overworked its employees too much. But having your name read out doesn't sound like much of a penalty. It's considered a pretty big penalty by Japanese standards, and hey, let's say it. It's Ajis, Aegis, Kabushiki Kaisha Aegis, this company. Has become the first company ever to have its name published as a company that is repeatedly violated overwork criteria. And in this case, 63 of its employees reported overtime in excess of 100 hours. And remember, the work to death threshold is set at 80 hours. And they were on 4 occasions told to improve, and they still re-violated again and again. So there you go, Aegis. They've got 50 locations throughout the country and annual profits of $180 million. What do they do? The company has set up a project to try to reduce overtime, which usually means just reporting it less. However, the ministry have come in and they've found that they've still got all these employees who are working to death, and they want them to stop. So it's good to see anyway that baby steps, but it's getting better. Hey, it's Hikipedia here. It's good to see Hikipedia. I noticed the like before, so thank you very much for that. Yes, Kenji Hoskow. By the way, Kenji, you might have seen before. I will re-highlight to you how, in fact, I think you saw this when I posted it on Twitter. A major law firm also be using a robotic lawyer. So I talked a little bit about that earlier. It's coming, might as well get ready for it. But yes, indeed, there is a working to death line that 20% of companies breach, and this company here is the first company ever to have its name published. So there's baby steps, but geez, I don't know that you should be using baby steps when people are working to death. And as we all know, the numbers of people working to death in Japan are still, I'm sure, grossly underreported. This is kind of cool. New Zealand passports are pretty much the coolest passports in the world. Let me show you. I don't think there's anything personal information on this. It's cool. People comment when I go through the customs. We have the silver fern and the sort of national symbol on the side there, as well as the coat of arms and so on. But it's a black passport. It's got a little map of the country and the silver fern. It looks really, really cool when you go through customs, and I get favourable comments about having this very stylish passport. It looks like Japanese are about to kick my stylish ass with having these ukiyo-e designs on their passports, with new passports. It's a shame, actually. My son just had to renew his passport recently. I'd almost want to renew just to get one of these, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So just thought I'd show that off. Good for those of you with Japanese passports. These guys, World Order, they are awesome. They've done another video which you should go and watch about business skills, but they're really good, so go and check that out. 10 types of customers that irk store clerks. If you want to see this, go again. PDR. I advertise PDR forever, but he's done a whole series of working at a convenience store and types of customers that are annoying to convenience store clerks, and vice versa. But he's done endless combinations of these, as well as people who are really annoying to half people and stuff like that as well. And what is how it's a pain being half. It is really funny stuff. But anyway, 8 types. It's kind of funny to see, but you've got the preemptive customer who is just trying to not do the dance and get everything done quickly. You've got people who are arguing with each other over who should pay and trying to be too polite over one another while holding up a queue. Apparently, I've heard foreigners complain about the tape that they put on to show to sort of seal bags so that they can prevent shoplifting. Apparently, there are kids who are really into collecting that and they ask for extra stuff. The small changer, the people who just put in a bunch of coins and say figure it out from there. I'm kind of with the small changes. They are going to charge me 108 yen for a 100 yen product, and they're not going to absorb the sales tax and make it 110 yen or 100 yen. They're going to make it 108 yen. They can wait while I pick out every single one of those 8 1 yen coins, which are, by the way, worth more melted down than they are as currency. The 1 yen is worthless, and they're made out of plastic, and the value of 1 yen is worth less than 1 yen. If you wanted to be a real mega millionaire, just get every 1 yen coin in Japan and melt it down and sell it as scrap metal, and you'll get more back on your investment. So yeah, I'm kind of not sympathetic to that. The finger licker, oh yes, people with cooties and hands and so on. The mute, the drooling product fondler, the disappearing customer who goes away and leaves you there waiting for them. I'm just going to get one more thing. Now, I guess these are kind of universal, but it's kind of funny anyway, worth looking at. This is kind of cool. This startup wants to go and put little mini satellites in orbit, which are going to cause a meteor shower when the Olympics start. I love meteor showers. I think it's awesome that somebody wants to do this. I don't know how they'd do it, but yes indeed, that is pretty cool. By the way, I see Brad Ford there. Will the passport push me over to become a Japanese citizen? No, it will not. No, unfortunately, that would not do it. Although, I would take a Japanese passport today if I could have it as a second passport. But it's rare. It's the exception for countries that allow dual passport holdings, and it's usually because of countries like New Zealand, where half the population, or more than half the population, were migrants from the UK. They wanted to encourage people to adopt New Zealand passports by letting them know that they didn't have to give up their British passports. And as a result of that, we think it's fair and wonderful that everyone should have multiple passports. But no, most countries in the world don't recognize multiple passports, and Japan's perfectly entitled to that rule. But if they were nice enough to let me have one, I would love to have a Japanese passport. I'm not going to give up my stylish, Japanese passport, even if the Japanese one becomes cooler. So there you go. This is awesome. I'd really like to see them do that. Brian McNeil, I mentioned earlier, he's got his Kickstarter for the translation of his Hi, My Name is Loco and I'm a Racist into Japanese. His book reading of the chapter Word is Bond, about being a member of the 5% Nation of Islam in the early 1980s in Brooklyn, that he did the other night. The 40-minute reading of that chapter, my favorite chapter of his awesome book, was so good. He goes talking about the subject of racism in Japan, with the conclusion, don't be afraid to come here with Sharla. It was good to see him hooking up with her. So yeah, go and check that out as well. It's good to get his perspective, because he is someone who raises issues a lot. So it's kind of it's good to see their video taking that subject. Somebody here doesn't like to ride the train. They are complaining a lot in this blog. Basically, Kat Callahan does not like. In fact, is that a cat that I know? Maybe it's not. I think it's someone else. But anyway, you know, she lives 90 minutes out of Tokyo, and there's a lot of directions that you can live 90 minutes out of Tokyo. But she lives probably in the shittiest 90-minute direction out of Tokyo. She is living at 10 o'clock. She's living Akabane and the ghetto, the worst part of the ghetto, the Saitama Tokyo crossover zone. I mean, you know, no offense to the people who live there, but you know, Itabashiku and Adachiku, she is there, and she commutes 90 minutes every day to and from Itabashiku, and you know, she has a really shitty train ride, and yeah, no shit. And this is why, if you want to save money and commute 90 minutes, do that. But seriously, you know, this is why most people suck it up. We live in shitty little apartments that we don't have to commute so far. But yes, she does go through and give a vivid description of all the things that she really dislikes about trains. She does mention that she has encountered chikam, molesters, and that she would use women-only carriages if they were available on her train lines, but they often aren't. And so, you know, for that, yeah. And I know people have been in train crashes and so on. There was a big Hibiya Line train accident about 15 years ago, and I've got a friend who was actually in the carriage where a lot of people died. He was too traumatized to use the train anymore, and if you can't use the trains in Tokyo, you really are screwed. You can't commute by car. This person, she says she misses her car. I've lived here 17 years, I've never missed a car. I mean, maybe there have been isolated moments where I've missed using cars, but no, I'm a big fan of the trains here, and I wouldn't live where she lives or even attempt to do the commute. I think she's just a little bit silly with how she's going about it. But the result is, if you want to hear the worst possible commuting experience in Tokyo, here is a blog for it, so go and check that out. What else? Oh, Wikipedia is, everyone's saying congratulations to Wikipedia. Why are they saying congratulations to Wikipedia? I am the Saitama Ghetto indeed. What have we got here? Wikipedia, yes, what? I'm curious, why is everyone saying congratulations to Wikipedia? No, it's not going to search there. Okay, well anyway, whatever it is, I'm sure it's a worthy congratulations. I will take that off. But anyway, back to this. This is kind of good. This was posted by Rochelle Kopp. 7 things that investors and founders need to know about the Japan startup ecosystem. This is a really good article. The quick highlight. Venture investment in Japan is small. There's not a lot of M&A activity for Japanese startups. The Bati IPO is pretty low. Most of them do it. You know, I think under $30 million. Makes up 70% of the IPOs, which is total is like much less in America. Corporate venture capital is king. This is definitely true, and I used to be involved with corporate investments in startups. So it's not angel investors, it's companies. Smart people are finally, this is interesting, that the trend of people who are in the startups is starting to change. I think there have always been smart people in startups, but you know, now there's people who would rather than go and join Nomura or the big sort of, you know, safe companies, are actually going straight into startups now. So they are getting higher firepower. Oh, she's pregnant. Whoa, congratulations, Hikipita. That is awesome news. Wow. There's a lot of cool shit being developed, there is indeed, and the hammers are pulling out the nails. Well, okay, this is a bit rah-rah, but yeah, I think this jives with what I'm hearing as well, that you know, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming on, and it's worth getting familiar with that stuff. You know, I get a feeling I might have just been trolled. Who knows? Anyway. But yes, indeed. Japan, the next big quake. People have been talking about the next big quake, and specifically this Nankai quake, for like the whole time I've been in Japan. And in that time, you know, there have been huge disasters everywhere else. Okay, I was getting trolled there by Ben, but that doesn't matter. Well, let's just say that Wikipedia is pregnant, and congratulations on that until I can see otherwise. Well, why not? Why not? I mean, you know, you can throw that in there, just make it real. It's waking to a nightmare. Well, this is pretty good. I know a lot of people who have left Japan because they're afraid of the quakes. They always do that. 1K subs. Well, that's like being pregnant. It's kind of like you have a YouTube channel baby. Well, there you go. So there we go, 1,000 subs. Well, that's even better than being pregnant, isn't it? Congratulations, Wikipedia, well deserved. Basically, if you want to read what it would be like and why you should be too terrified to ever come to Japan, read this. But and you should actually be aware of all of this stuff. But frankly, everyone's been waiting for this quake to happen, and unpredicted quakes have happened in Kyushu, Tohoku, Niigata, Kobe. Kobe was never supposed to have an earthquake. They thought it was like the least risk earthquake area in the whole of Japan, and they had this massive earthquake. Kyushu, nobody said that Kyushu was a high risk area, and boom, that happened. Tohoku as well. They predicted that nothing bigger than a magnitude 8 was possible up there, and they got a magnitude 9.2. So it's we'll keep worrying about this, and you should worry about this, but at the same time, forget about it. So. Ben, you mischievous person. If you're into Lego, Japan already has kind of some Lego theme kind of indoor fun parks in Osaka and Tokyo, but they're getting their first full-on Legoland, full-on amusement park. It's going to be in Nagoya. So this is really big news. I mean, as I mentioned, the only real reason I could see for having the maglev that's being developed, I think, for 2025 between Tokyo and Nagoya is that it will allow you to escape from Nagoya even faster than you can by bullet train. However, this might be the first reason ever to get on a maglev going in the direction of Nagoya, or maybe even get off the train when it arrives there, as opposed to winding up the windows and locking the doors. I like Nagoya. They've got lovely people down there, but there's not a lot to do there, right? So if there's going to be a Legoland there, well, you don't have to. For me, I would never going to Universal Studios all the way in Osaka. It seems a little bit far away, but you can get from Tokyo to Nagoya now in 1.5 hours. So that is kind of cool, and this will be opening. I think when is it? It'll be opening soon. It will be opening in. I think they should put that in the very top. But anyway, soon. Anyway, next April. So something to look forward to. A reason to go to Nagoya. It's going to be awesome. Nagoya has an awesome castle. I can say that. It's got a pretty good castle. And they have nice car factories. And long distances between stations. They also have expensive weddings. I've been to a few expensive weddings down there. It's pretty cool. But anyway, another good reason to go down there. Victor is also doing, as I mentioned before, he's doing another happy hour like I'm doing. He's doing one in Nagoya. He's got his own style. He's been promoting it in Japanese. And as part of the spirit of getting back into Japanese, he has kickstarted his Victor in the World Japanese channel. He's got a promotion video for it there. He's very good at the promotion stuff. I suck at the promotion stuff, but I'm going to make a video for it anyway. So look out for that. That's pretty cool. And this is actually from tonight. Oh, so we're getting to the end now. We are getting to the end. There's 2 stories left. Okay, this is one. Now, this is interesting. This is from one of my favorite news sources, Itai News, which is just an aggregation of comments on news articles that are posted on the Nichan blog, the very scraping the very bottom of the Japanese internet, with kind of conspiracy theories and rage commenters and so on. But this one's talking about how since there's been a case recently where a base employee of a US military base in Okinawa murdered a 20-year-old local girl in Okinawa, there's been another just spike in protests at these bases. And one thing that a lot of the extreme leftist protesters that protest outside of these bases is that they don't just wave signs, and they're not just old ladies and so on like is shown in the a lot of the coverage of these protests. But there are stories that these people will actually kind of violently and aggressively target the employees, and they will target the families and the cars of U.S. military. Apparently cars in Okinawa have a Y number on them for families of U.S. Military, and there are cars that have been surrounded by protesters and been sort of attacked. And there's a story saying that even school buses full of kids have been attacked. And basically what these people say, well, if they're passing a hate speech law, surely hate, racism and violence directed at trying to tell these Americans in Okinawa to go home, that's hate speech as well. That's a right-wing, kind of dig at the left, saying that this hate speech is not just to protect North Koreans, it's also to protect US military. And there's a big debate about that as to whether that applies or not. Leftists say no, it doesn't apply to beating up on Americans because Americans have power in Japan. That's an interesting debate. But anyways, so there's people kind of trolling back and forth. And I saw this. However, before you take this article too seriously, I've heard stories about this, and some people from the US military talk about this sort of thing happening. So it might be legit. It might happen. However, this particular story is from a really weird URL called theliberty.com, and I went and looked at the liberty.com, and I'm not going to show it now. It is a site run by Kofuku no Kagaku, which is basically a religious group that has a political party, and they're very, very, very right-wing, very pro-US, very pro-Japan should remilitarize and invade and take over Asia again, and was right in the first place. And so there's a little bit of an agenda behind this. The page is is the front page for a religious organization. So I would take all that with a slight grain of salt. But if it is true, it is consistent with other stories that I've heard. And it's interesting to see. And, you know, for what it's worth, all the right-wing internet people are pro-American bases and pro-Americans and protecting American families from suffering racist attacks from base protesters. But at the same time, this is kind of also smells a little bit of trolling. The last one that we've got here is just a story that kind of plays onto this thing that I was talking about last week about the definitions of cheating, or how often do you cheat or whatever. And this whole thing, there's one debate that you might encounter in Japan as to using, paying for it. Apparently, in Kyushu, a city council allowed an employee to use a city council vehicle to go to the Kumamoto disaster area and gather information and deliver aid and whatnot. Apparently the city employee that was using the city car in the area pulled in that car into a Love Hotel during the day, where he went into the hotel and called some call girls who came to the hotel, and some outraged local citizen who saw a marked city car pulling into a Love Hotel car park and seeing this transaction took place reported him to his employer. And I don't know if it's been reported to the police or not actually, but it was definitely reported. Apparently when this was raised publicly, this is just, I love these news stories. So this person basically, it's an embarrassing, awkward situation that a guy during work hours who was using a car for delivering water to disaster areas in Kumamoto was seen pulling into a Love Hotel and calling call girls from the car. So somebody saw it, called the city. The city, it's not clear who's saying this, but it sounds like the city council, when they were asked the explanation given by the employee said he needed to refresh his body. I love it. They probably just made this up and just, got him to say, well, can we say that? And he'll say, yeah, fine, just say whatever. It's not clear if he's going to be arrested or what sort of punishment he will face for this. But I love it. They said, yeah, he just needed to get it out. The fact that the city actually published that as a response to outraged people, ratepayers, I suppose. It's just kind of, this is a very Japanese story. It's like they have these murder stories where they say, the suspect told the police that he felt like murdering someone today, and they publish this, and you can tell it always kind of smells a bit made up. But this is my favorite one. This guy was caught going to a Love Hotel, and he had to explain what he was doing at a Love Hotel, and he said that he needed to refresh his body. So that was kind of funny. The final one and that is the final one for the day. So yes, mark in your calendars. If you can go to the Rochelle event in Tokyo on June 2nd, I will be there. Not this week, but next week, so that will be awesome. Tokyo Digital Crew will be posting more content on there soon. I'll be posting some more music soon. I'm sort of doing some cool stuff which I'm going to show on that. Go and support the Kickstarter of Brian McNeil for translating Hi, My Name is Loco and I'm a Racist, and for getting his new book done, as well as the Kickstarter for Rochelle. The Joy of Japanese Business, Japan Business Time, my new series of Japan Business Time will be going up this week, probably on Tuesdays. So look out for that new series going up real soon. So that's something, it's good. I've been watching it back and it's good. Rochelle is just awesome, and we cover some really good subjects on a more positive angle for this series, so that's pretty good. And that's about it. Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to go back. Oh, indeed, I see Sean Brown is telling me that Wikipedia has reached 1,000 subs, so that's good. I see no other comments there, but thank you for doing that, Sean. I'm going to say goodbye. I don't have anything music-wise set up tonight, and I'm kind of tired, and we're exactly on the hour, so I'm actually going to finish on time tonight. I see that there are some people planning an after show. I won't be able to join that, but Tai might be participating and have a guitar, so go and do that. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great week, and yes, thank you for joining. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, wherever you are. Congratulations, Wikipedia, on the 1,000 subscribers, and possible. Who knows? Anything's possible. And have a good week, everybody. See you all later. And peace. Bada boom. How do I stop this thing? It's rolling down the hill. There's no break. Boom. Have a good week, everyone. Oh, wait, it's still going, and I know why. It's because I flipped the channel thing. Oh, okay. Let me... Oh, crap. So before I went to go and look at my channel, and now it will work. So now I couldn't log out. Technical issues, I couldn't finish the show on time. Oh, damn. Okay, here we go. Live control. I'm going to end it now. I'm not going to end it now. Not that kind of end. I'm going to end the show now. Don't worry. Have a good week there. And by the way, Ty, I can't wait to hear your new track. Yeah, Ty makes really good tracks. I'm editing. I'm using lots of music from Tokyo Digital Crew as the theme songs for each episode of the new series. And everyone's really good, but Ty stuff is really cool. So yeah, definitely check that out. Okay, good night, everybody. Have a good day. Peace. It's going to finish now.